All right, in this explainer, we're diving into something truly game-changing if you're looking to build that unshakable, rock-solid inner strength. We're tapping into ancient Stoic philosophy, specifically the lost art of actually embracing solitude to figure out who you really are beneath all the noise. We've got 10 very specific, curated solo activities lined up that will absolutely transform your relationship with yourself.
So let's just put the big question right out there. Why on earth are most of us so terrified of just being alone? I mean, it's a completely universal thing, right? We have this deep-seated fear of silence and isolation. But the Stoics, they looked at this differently. They point out that this fear doesn't exist because solitude itself hurts. The pain isn't actually coming from the quiet room.
The real reason we're sweating it's because silence forces you to meet yourself. Just let that sink in for a second. It's huge. When we're frantically filling every single second of our days with noise, running errands, keeping company, we aren't just being productive, we're often actually actively running away from who we really are. Because the second the distractions drop, boom, you're face to face with your own thoughts, your insecurities, your absolute unvarnished reality. And this is where we really have to reframe things, because there's a massive fundamental difference between loneliness and solitude. Honestly, it's like night and day. If you can't stand your own company, you're going to spend your whole life desperately clinging to everyone else's. That painful, grasping reliance, that is loneliness. Solitude, on the flip side, is this totally empowering, intentional choice to just enjoy being with you. To get us from that fearful loneliness to powerful solitude, we're going to walk through 10 activities broken down into 3 distinct phases.
Starting right off with Phase 1, detachment, escaping the modern noise.
Because, let's be honest, we're all dealing with a massive problem right now. If you look at your daily attention span as a whole, a staggering 85% of it is probably just borrowed by distraction. Seriously, 85%, leaving a tiny, barely there 15% that's truly yours. When you actually try to spend one full day totally unplugged, no phone, no social media, no constant pings, the withdrawal hits you like a truck. And you realize very quickly exactly how much of your waking life is literally being rented out to distractions.
So, how do we take our minds back? Well, here are the first 3 of our 10 activities. Number 1, like we just said, go one full 24 hours without your phone. Good luck, but do it. Number 2, try spending a whole weekend without saying a single word. No talking. I know it sounds totally crazy, but a silent weekend isn't just empty space. It's actually the exact environment where your real inner voice finally gets the mic. And number 3, go sit in nature for hours. I mean it. No music. Definitely no podcasts. Just you sitting completely alone in a forest or a park that has existed long, long before your current stress even mattered.
Okay, so once you've managed to quiet all that noise, you're finally ready to build. That brings us to Phase 2, resilience, forging strength through challenging. This is where you actually forge that unshakable resilience. Activity 4, take a genuinely difficult problem and solve it entirely on your own, no Googling, no asking a friend. Activity 5, tackle a physical challenge that legitimately scares you. We're talking a massive hike, climbing a peak, or just a deeply grueling workout. True discipline is forged in that exact, agonizing moment when your body is screaming at you to quit, but your mind just flat out refuses. And Activity 6, make a major, important life decision completely solo.
Because here's the core philosophy behind all this. Confidence isn't just magically handed out. You can't buy it, it is earned. Piece by piece, every single time you survive something totally on your own. You're not making solo decisions or solving problems alone because asking for advice is somehow bad. Not at all. You do it because, at the end of the day, you have to learn to implicitly, absolutely trust your own judgment.
And that leads us right into the best part, our third and final phase. Phase 3, reinvention and joy. Enjoying your own company out in the real world. So how do we put this new joy into practice? Activity 7. Go sit down and eat at a nice restaurant entirely by yourself. Pay attention to how incredibly awkward and anxiety-inducing it is at first. You're sitting there wondering, oh man, what does everyone think of me? But push through that. Stop wondering and start actually savoring your own company. Activity 8. Hop on a long train or bus ride with absolutely zero destination in mind. Seriously, clarity almost always shows up when you finally stop rushing. And Activity 9. Celebrate a big victory alone. Don't wait around for the crowd to applaud you. Be proud of yourself right now, because only you know exactly what it costs to get there. And finally, Activity 10. This one is probably the ultimate act of reinvention on the whole list. Go live in a new city for a while. It is a profound, profound exercise in self-discovery. When you drop yourself into a completely new environment where literally nobody knows your name, you are giving yourself permission to be someone who isn't boxed in by yesterday. You get this incredibly rare chance to rebuild yourself from the ground up, packing only the true, authentic self you've just spent all this time discovering.
Bringing all of these phases together really gives us our core takeaway. Learn to turn solitude into strength. Look, the strongest people you're ever going to meet, they aren't the ones who never feel lonely. Trust me, they feel it just as much as the rest of us do. But the difference is, they actively use these Stoic practices to forge an inner power that absolutely no one can ever take away from them.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to wrap up on. The person you become when absolutely nobody else is around, that is the person you're going to live with for the rest of your life. So ask yourself, do you actually enjoy their company? I really hope this explainer gave you a clear roadmap to ensure that answer is a resounding absolute yes. Try picking just one of these 10 activities to tackle this week and start building that unshakable strength. Thanks so much for learning with us today.